for Baylor School to open the 2019-2020 school year. Each year, this convocation serves as the only time we bring together the entire community. So join me in the spirit of this great school that we all share as we recognize the various members of our community by the traditional parade of flags. Representing the class of 2026, Charlie Myra.
me in thanking our musicians this morning. Good morning. It is my great privilege to welcome you to Convocation for the 2019-20 school year, the 126th year in the proud history of Baylor School. I'm especially excited to welcome those of you who are experiencing your first Baylor Convocation. To our new students and our new faculty and staff members, we are proud to be your new school home. Our largest group of newcomers, our class of 2026, our 6th grade. Are you guys in the house? That's good. That's a promising start. And finally, I want to welcome this morning a very special guest. Please help me welcome Dr. Bill Stacy, the 8th headmaster in the history of Baylor School. Dr. Stacy, welcome. As we open this school year, I want to briefly echo the words of Mr. Ryan Crimmins, the chair of the Baylor Board of Trustees. When I asked Mr. Crimmins about our marching orders, he said 4 words: faith, excellence, honor, and magnanimitas. Each of these words is reflected throughout our statement of mission and values, and they echo through the history of our school. Let me talk about these values just for a moment. First, faith. Baylor's faith statement is this: we believe that faith is central to every person's life, and that the study of religion is an essential part of a complete education. While the majority of our students and faculty are Christian, all major world religions are represented in the school, and we welcome and respect all faiths. I pray this morning that your individual faith walk will be strengthened and nourished this year and during your Baylor careers. Next, excellence. At Baylor, we aspire to excel in the classroom, on the stage, on our fields of play, in our service to others, in all that we endeavor to do. This aspiration is a heavy burden. It demands a lot of our teachers and coaches and a lot of you, our students. At Baylor, we do not reach for the middle bar. We reach for the highest bar. We do not always get there, but our individual and corporate commitment to the pursuit of excellence allows us to achieve more than we might have ever dreamed. Honor. Today we will discuss honor and its central place in the culture of our school. Perhaps my greatest point of pride in Baylor is the student-written and student-run honor system that has been so much of who we are for more than 100 years. And finally, magnanimitas. The Latin word left us by our founding headmaster, Dr. John Lloyd Baylor. Magnanimitas means greatness of spirit. In brief, Dr. Baylor challenged all of us who share a piece of Baylor to be the best people we can be, to be kind, to be honorable, to be intellectually curious, to be generous, to be humble, and be respectful. In sum, this is our calling as members of this school family. As we traverse the school year together, we will talk much more about these values and how they help shape us as individuals and as a school family. Finally, before I turn the podium over to Claire Austin, who will lead us in our invocation, and Jada Cooper, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to acknowledge the senior class, the class of 2020. I'm excited about the leadership you have already demonstrated during your Baylor careers, and I look forward to an awesome year with you guys. To every person in the room, I wish for you an amazing year, Godspeed, and go Big Red.
each new student feel welcomed and at home here. Help us to recognize the blessing it is to call Baylor our school. Please give us the strength to work hard and to try our best in all that we do. I pray that this year can be a year where we all join together and grow closer. Thank you for the wonderful place that Baylor is to all of us. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Jada Cooper, class of 2024. Will you please join me and rise with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Good morning. My name is Takesha Haney, and I serve as Assistant Director of Residential Life. As most of you know, Baylor welcomes students from all around the world. Today, several students representing our diverse international community are here to welcome us all.
Hi, I'm Benvenuto from the UK, originally from Italy. Benvenuti a Baylor, Forza Vigorelli.
I'm David from Ghana, and I'm a sophomore, and I say Papa.
I'm Ilavi, a junior from Tampere, Finland. Tervetuloa Bayloriin. Go Big Reds.
My name is Sergio, I'm a freshman here. Let's have a person on the way over. Go Big Red.
My name is Ana Chavela. I'm a sophomore from Spain. Bienvenidos a Baylor. Go Big Red.
Hi, my name is Logan. I'm a junior from Bermuda. Go Big Red.
I'm Melissa. I'm from Rio, Brazil. I'm a sophomore. Daniela Baylor. Go Big Red.
Hi, I'm Candice Chen from China. 欢迎来到贝勒红色必胜。
Hello, I'm Matthew, a senior from Thailand. Yindi Kosu Baylor, Go Big Red.
Hi, I'm Daphne. I'm a senior from Turkey. Go Big Red. Oh, Baylor, hoş geldiniz.
Hello, I'm Loris Senai. I'm a senior from Albania. We're second at Baylor, Forza Big Red.
Hey, I'm Alex. I'm a senior from London. Добро пожаловать в Baylor. Go Big Red.
Hello, my name is Connor Duffy, and I'm a senior and the chair of the Honor Council. I want to welcome everyone back. Hopefully everyone has had a great summer. I also want to welcome our new students and faculty to the Baylor family. Today I'll be talking about the Honor Code. Baylor Honor Code was founded on the belief that every great institution must rest on the foundations of truth and honor. The Baylor students of 1916 unanimously chose to adopt the Honor Code and elect the council to sustain the integrity of the code. For 103 years, the Honor Code has fostered a trusting environment with an honorable community that allows Baylor students to change the world. As an honest and trustworthy community, we will enter the world as a body of upstanding citizens. We will leave Baylor with the ability and desire to make a positive difference in the world, not only because of the institution's outstanding faculty, facilities, and support, but also due to the foundation of trust among the Baylor community. We should feel a sense of duty to our teachers, faculty, and school to uphold our value of honor. Our trust in each other, students and faculty alike, allows us to improve ourselves and the world around us without fear. The Honor Code is imperative to the integrity of Baylor and its mission, because it maintains an honorable community that allows us to work together to change the world. At Baylor, our relationships are facilitated by the trust cultivated by the Honor Code. It allows everyone at Baylor to form the bonds that make us a family instead of a body of acquaintances. We may not know every individual, but we know our family can be trusted. We practice our trust in family every day here. Outside this building is over $700,000 of technology sitting unguarded. We can do this at Baylor because we trust our family. This notion allows our bonds to form quickly and flourish, since we can let our guards down and interact without fear. The term Baylor family beautifully summarizes the student-to-student relationships, because our connections go deeper than the classroom and playing field. We are a family. Trust is our family's common thread. The Honor Code provides a comfortable environment to nurture and grow our gifts and talents. It lets us pursue our passions individually and together, because we know our Baylor family is trustworthy. Our honorable and trustworthy environment allows us to focus on the things that enrich us and bring us joy, instead of wasting energy distrusting those around us. The Honor Code perpetuates confidence in the community, allowing Baylor to enrich students inside and outside the classroom. The Baylor Honor Code exists to maintain every facet of our school life, not as a means to punish the student body. The Honor Code is the bedrock of the Baylor atmosphere. It fosters a climate of respect, trust, and honor, and most importantly, it maintains the atmosphere that allows us to make a positive difference on each other and in the world. I wish all of you the best of luck this year and hope to see none of you at 7:30 in front of the Honor Council. Thank you, and go Big Red.
Good morning. My name is Floyd Salapino, and today I am to introduce David Padilla to you. I think the best way for me to do this is to explain why I respect and admire David Padilla. If you browse the roll of yearbooks, you will find that David's been an English teacher, a dorm parent, a soccer coach, a chair of the English department, dean of the 11th and 12th grades, head of the upper school. While I think this is an impressive resume, displaying a multitude of interests and talents, it is not why I respect and admire David Padilla. What you won't see in those yearbooks is that David and I have worked closely on the logistics of this place. In tandem with others, we've done planning for registration, classroom assignments, sectioning assignments, teaching assignments, schedules for faculty, schedules for students. We designed report cards, set up transcripts, wrestled with a database that at times did not want to do our bidding. I've always enjoyed working with David on these projects. He's pragmatic, he's practical. He always goes about his work with a sense of purpose, but he never lets it impede his sense of humor. While the experience of doing these jobs with David has been extremely pleasant and rewarding, it is not the reason why I respect and admire David Padilla. I respect and admire David Padilla because he is a serious teacher. He is a strong believer in the integrity of the liberal arts and the ability of the liberal arts to make a positive difference in the lives of those who need them. He takes seriously the ideas of teaching his students to read critically, to think logically, and to express their thoughts in prose that is both clear and concise, and in accordance and which respects the integrity of the language. This is the kind of thinking which, in my opinion, is worthy of our respect and admiration. And so, I am honored to present to you today a serious teacher, a great colleague, a better friend, and a person whom I respect and admire, David Padilla.
Good morning. Welcome to all students, faculty and staff, distinguished guests, and friends. As most of you know, in addition to being the upper school head, Mr. as all of you know, just pointed out, I'm an English teacher. In fact, I would say that teaching is the most important part of my job at Baylor. As such, I really enjoy discussing all aspects of language. English class is, after all, the single most important class that each student here will take. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Clarity and effectiveness of verbal and written communication is absolutely central to everything else you will do in life. While the vast majority of adults assembled here were not English majors, I'm confident that all the successful people will tell you that clarity and communication is really important in their professional and personal lives. It's just the fact that you can only get so far if you're an ineffective communicator. So let's identify a few things that can get in the way of that clarity and effectiveness. We'll begin with some things that are admittedly trivial. Take a fairly common error I often hear: between you and I. This is a problem with what we call pronoun case. It's upsetting to people like me because it's an attempt to sound smart, which fails. Because it's wrong. Whether or not you like it, it has to be between you and me. It's also well established that there are some words which don't sit well with me. For example, I despise the word plethora. At least how it's commonly used. Some think this word makes me sound more sophisticated, but folks tend to use this word when they really just mean a lot. In reality, the word should be reserved for use as an antonym for paucity or dearth, and as such, it's not really the same as a lot. Again, while somewhat trivial, these examples are reflective of some level of misunderstanding, whatever the reasons. And in general, mistaking pronouns or using such words is not a huge deal. In fact, I'll go so far as to admit that this issue is largely my issue, my problem. I accept that and seeking help. But some misuses of language get in the way and change our understanding of the world around us. We call these kinds of misunderstandings acorns or malapropisms. These are words or phrases that result from a mishearing or misinterpretation of another, where an element of the original is substituted for one that sounds very similar or even identical. These are sometimes comical because they seem so close to what they should be. Some examples. Toe, T-O-W, the line, instead of toe, T-O-E, the line. Mute point instead of a moot point. Flusterated, which seems to be a blending of flustered and frustrated. Intensive purposes instead of intense and purposes. There's no such thing as an intensive purpose. One of my favorites is something I too often hear or see in student writing. Analyzation. To clarify, analyzation is not a word. Analysis is a word. Second, if analyzation were a word, it would probably be pronounced quite differently. Another example, again, comes to you courtesy of a student I taught years ago. Can't make this stuff up. We were discussing an essay, and she felt moved to tell me that she wasn't very good at the kind of writing we were working on. Something she called suppository writing. As with analyzation, the effect here is quite different from what the student intended. Something that we call a suppository is very different from something we term expository. These are comical and largely harmless. However, they reflect a deeper kind of misunderstanding, born of ignorance. Here's the point. Sometimes linguistic misunderstanding causes us not simply to misuse a word, but to go so far as to twist things because we want them to mean something, even when they don't. I find these to be a bit more insidious. Take the Baylor motto, which appears in our school seal. It reads, Amat Victoria Cura, victory loves care. Luckily for us, Mr. Saladino, clarified this for us 2 years ago on this very stage. He reminded us that the phrase, victory loves care, is less about victory and more about care. How you act, how we act at Baylor is what matters. The winning is a byproduct of living the right way. Our founder, John Lloyd Baylor, an accomplished Latin scholar himself, knew this. In the same way, the phrase carpe diem has been twisted here. The phrase is taken from the Roman poet Horace's Odes, written over 2,000 years ago. It literally means seize the day, but as a recent article noted, carpe diem doesn't really mean seize the day in the way that we think. It's actually a horticultural metaphor that, particularly seen in the context of the poem, is more accurately translated as plucking the day, evoking the plucking and gathering of ripening fruits and flowers. In other words, it suggests enjoying a moment that is rooted in the sensory experience of nature. Gathering flowers as a metaphor for timely enjoyment is a far gentler image than the rather forceful, even violent concept of seizing the moment. One philosopher noted that the hijacking of carpe diem is an existential crime of the century, and one we have barely noticed. I don't know that I'd go so far as to call this the existential crime of the century, but I do think it's important to remember that we shouldn't just appropriate or change one meaning or understanding to another to fit our values. Perhaps the best example of this reshaping of metaphors, a particular type of misunderstanding, comes from Robert Frost's most famous poem. You know it, right? It begins, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Spoiler alert. Believe what you like, but this is not a poem that's really focused on tough choices. It is certainly not the story of a guy who faces a difficult decision and chooses the hard right over the easy wrong. In fact, in the opening 15 lines of the poem, the speaker firmly and undoubtedly establishes that other than being different paths, they're really similar, not that different. The wishy-washy narrator thinks about the first path, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps a better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. As just as fair, about the same, equally lay. He emphasizes to us not once, not twice, but 3 times that the paths were almost identical. There was no less traveled path. Making, in my mind, things even worse, the speaker goes so far in the final 5 lines to tell us how he plans to lie about this experience he's just pretending. He tells us, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Who plans a sigh? Somewhere ages and ages hence, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I, dramatic pause, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Culturally, we want the poem to tell us that individuality, or choosing the road less traveled, is what is important. And while I concede that that may be true, this narrator, who just admitted to us that the paths were nearly identical, may not be the most reliable source. Many people go so far as to retitle this particular poem. But the title matters a lot. It isn't the road less traveled. It's the road not taken. It's actually about the poem about what the speaker didn't do. So what does all this mean for us as we prepare to start a new year? Here's what I'd offer. At Baylor, we have both the opportunity and the moral imperative to hold ourselves to higher standards than that guy in Frost's poem. A higher standard for work ethic, for effort, for time, and dedication. These things add up to a higher standard for saying what we mean and meaning what we say, for avoiding misunderstandings when possible. Luckily, John Lloyd Baylor does provide for us a gauge for that higher standard because in his final speech, one that he composed but never had the chance to deliver, he wrote, "If this were the last word that God gave me the strength to say to you and to give you as a watchword for life, I do not know that I could find a better one for you than that of the old Romans, magnanimitas." I believe he chose the final word for a very specific reason. It's a word that means precisely what we think it means: generosity, high-mindedness, loftiness of spirit. Dr. Baylor knew that when it comes to words, we're interested in breadth of possibility, not a narrowing of a word to a nice, neat package. That's part of why we implore students to build their vocabularies. It's not so they can use fancy words or sound smart. It's so they can use the right words. It's also the reason we have that word etched on our gates as you leave this campus. It's aspirational. Misunderstandings by accident, pronoun-based, trite, tired words like plethora, malapropisms, and the like will continue to happen. And while they're not great, I can live with them. Misunderstandings born of ignorance or lack of will, or dare I say, laziness, are not as okay, because they're avoidable. Words or phrases or poems can't simply mean what we want them to mean so we can feel better about ourselves. Remember that excellence is what we are about at this school. Not perfection, but excellence. Being the best version of who we are in all areas. The best student and teacher, the best artist or athlete, the best citizen, the best son or daughter or friend or acquaintance. What is completely unacceptable is misunderstanding what it means to be a part of this community. A community founded on the values of respect, honor, faith, and inclusivity. Baylor is a community dedicated to magnanimitas in all areas and all ways. There's no misunderstanding that. It's a new year. The first for some, the final for others. This is your only chance to experience, for this experience to be this experience. Hold yourselves to a higher standard and make this the best year it can be. Thank you.
I'm Coach Clark, and I'm Assistant Dean at the upper school. As many of you know, several years ago we revived an old tradition at Baylor with a new twist. Throughout Baylor's history, students at various times have worn jackets or blazers as part of a uniform for the school. This tradition took many forms during the military days, most obviously. But after the school dropped the military program in 1971, students continued to wear a variety of similar blazers. Some of them were red, some were navy, some were gray. When students revived this tradition a few years back, they wished to have something new, but traditional, something distinctive that showed pride in their school. After much debate and discussion, we decided to bring back red blazers, but only for the seniors, who in their time at the school have earned the distinction. At this time, I would like to ask all of the seniors to rise. Class of 2020. You have the privilege of maintaining Baylor School's commitment to excellence, the school's dedication to honor and academic achievement, not only in yourself, but in those of your classmates. Your blazer should be seen as a sign of achievement, but also a sign of responsibility to uphold the traditions of Baylor and a sign of commitment on your part to continue and pass along the school's tradition of honor. Becoming a senior and donning this blazer is a pledge to yourself and your fellow students that you will be the best that you can be in all activities, and that as a senior at Baylor, you welcome the responsibilities as well as the opportunities the school provides, and that in your interactions with each other and indeed all members of the community, you will be ever mindful of the school's motto, Amant Victoria Cura. Seniors, please put on your blazers. Baylor School, will all of you please rise and join the class of 2020 in singing our alma mater, led by Vic Oaks and the Baylor Choir.
In the benediction. Following the benediction, please stay in your seats for dismissal instructions.
Let us pray together. God, in our everyday lives, thank you for every opportunity to begin anew, to meet new friends, to explore new horizons, to consider new ideas. We are aware that there are things you will not do for us. You will not take a test, read a book, or tackle an opponent. You will not eliminate temptation or keep us from being foolish. You will never force us to be joyful or generous or grateful. But you will do for us what you have done for others if we are open and receptive. You will give us a vision for our future. You will open doors of opportunity and invite us to step forward. You will challenge us to be our best selves. You will call us to do even small things that will make a positive difference all around us. You will show us what a meaningful life looks like through the example of others. You will want us to care for others as we care for ourselves. You will quietly be with us every step of the way. Teach us how to listen for your voice in the midst of the chatter all around us. Hear our prayer. Amen.
Students, if you will please be seated, we'll begin dismissal. And students, if you will, please take your honor code cards and pass them to the center aisle. And if you're on the center aisle, just leave that stack on your chair or on the bleachers. Sixth grade, you are